Hello Year 6, it's Miss Jobbins here with your lesson 6 today, and today our lesson objective is I can plan a newspaper article. So as you know, we always start our lessons with a spelling starter, and today it's asking you to write down the 6 common exception words on your piece of paper as many times as you can in 3 minutes. It then asks you to turn the piece of paper over. Can you spell them all down correctly in under 1.5 minutes? Which words did you correctly spell and which ones do you still need to practice? We know our words are convenience, criticise, definite, correspond, curiosity and desperate. So today, if you could please then pause this video and come back to me, I will then explain more about what we are doing today. So today we are looking at how to plan a newspaper article. Now, we've been over the last few days working really hard, and we've been so impressed with the level of learning that you've been uploading, ladies and gentlemen, that we are really, really impressed. And now today is all about thinking about how planning and using that model text from yesterday's lesson will support you in this planning process. So using the model text on the previous slide and found on the Year 6 Pupil Portal website, today you will be planning your newspaper article. So that means using this sort of structure template if you'd like to, and maybe perhaps using this plain sheet if you'd like to, or as a basis, and then you would be then writing it out in a structured template like this if you'd like to, or on like something like this. However, today we're going to be thinking about the planning section. So you need to make sure that you have these up in front of you, or at least you've got a reference to them, because this is how we'd like you to lay yours out. Obviously, if you'd like to have a bit more time and a little bit more of your own stance on it and style on it, then that's absolutely fine as well. But we'd like you to use these as a semi form of like a structure, or at least as a basis for your planning. So you need to make sure that what you need to do when writing a first draft is, you need to make sure that you use this plan and you're planning it. You've got all the features from the success criteria, and you are stopping and looking at the success criteria, thinking, can I tick off more than 2 or 3 of these pieces of evidence from the success criteria? Can I evidence my learning? Can I sit back and go, okay, I've included that, and I've included that, and I've included that? Can you provide evidence if someone was to ask you as well? You need to make sure that your writing is set for your target audience. So that means you need to refer back to your tabs. You've followed the structured layout as I've just showed you, and you are referring to your modelled examples. Now, you can find all of these in the resources section of the website, or if you just flick back on these slides, you'll easily be able to come up with not only the greater depth modelled example that we provided you with from the government, but also the other example of the Bilbo Baggins one. You also need to think about, as you're going along, how can you upscale your language? Can you use those grammatical features from the grammatical resources slide, from the grammar resources slide? Can you sit back, stop, look at the sentence? Can you think, okay, I need to now sit back and I need to go, this sentence is a bit dull. Can I add in some other ideas such as show, not tell, trick of 3, adjectives, adverbs, alliterations, similes and metaphors? Can I use in, maybe even throw in some personification? Is there a form of, I don't know, inverted commas that I could throw in here to make it even more exciting? Can I provide a who, what, where, when, how, like one of the 5 W's to support it even further? As well as that, could you develop it with a thesaurus to up-level that really boring Year 2 language? Could you make it using maybe perhaps a Year 6 language? Because we definitely like to see that. And have you gone through it? Are you using the correct punctuation? Are you making sure that you're using a dictionary to spell those tricky words? Now, I'm not going to read through all of these again, but you need to know that you feel 100% secure in all the features of a newspaper report. So the headline, the subtitles, the pictures, the 5 W's, the clear paragraphs, the direct and indirected reported speech, the facts, the formal language, the third person, the past tense. All here are examples, but you can also find out more in the grammar resource. Please don't forget to look at the teaching point for the grammar resource slides, because that will be able to support your learning even further. If you need to, there are also these 2 videos here which will break down the features of a newspaper report and also how to write a newspaper article / report in the same fashion in more detail. Don't forget to look through these videos again, you have time. As well as that, we've recapped over what are the 5 W's. I won't go through each of these again, as you've already gone through these with Miss Bannerberg. However, you should be able to feel confident in these, particularly in your planning process when you're using that planning sheet. You need to think about the who's, the where's, the why's, the what's, the when's, even including the how's. That's one of the most important things as well, is the how. Once you've made one of these points, How is that important? Explaining it, thinking back to your explanation text from week 1. You also don't want to forget your top tips. These are questions and things that you need to remember as you're going throughout. Can you tick these off as well in your planning? Now you need to remember as well that your taps. Remember you're writing a newspaper article on one of the 2 news round stories. You are thinking about your target audience. So you are writing a newspaper article for children aged between 9 to 14. You need to adapt your language, thinking of a semi-formal tone and using that ambitious vocabulary. If you'd like to challenge yourself even further, you might think, do you know what, I'm going to include a glossary, maybe remembering back to our weeks 1 and 2, where you created some outstanding glossaries in your work. Can you also think of perhaps using your 5 W's to inform the readers? That's your purpose and ambitious vocabulary. So your purpose is to report about the key events in your chosen news round story. You are aiming to inform the reader all about the key information using the 5 W's. And your structure, as I've already taken you through, you've got your introduction, your main story, and your conclusion. You can always go back to this previous slide where it breaks down the headlines, the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, down for you as well. Those will support your learning and your planning process in a lot more detail. So finally, you need to think about also your structure and your success criteria. You need to be able to, as I've said, read through your work, making sure that's including your planning, making sure you can find 2 or 3 pieces of evidence for each feature in your writing before you can tick it off on your printed out version. Remember to keep referring through this throughout your learning, okay? And you need to make sure that you're self-assessing at least twice during your planning process. So take a look at this modelled example. So using the modelled planning sheet and all the other pieces of learning and knowledge you've gained over the last few lessons, take a read through this greater depth moderation model over the next few slides. Can you magpie some of this in your own planning? Now we've given you the one which is annotated because we're hoping that you use elements of this in your own. Now to me, this is already quite a basic introduction, so perhaps you can think about, you know what, in fact, I'm going to up-level this even further. We've also given you an example of what this looks like and then what it's marked like. So really think about the decisions that you're making and the choices that you're making throughout. We've also provided some useful websites to support you in your planning process. So if you use the following websites to support your planning, these should be useful in planning and writing your newspaper article. So that was a very speedy breakdown, but again, you know how to plan these now. You've had 1 or 2 lessons on this already. Now today is thinking about using that planning sheet to structure it, really up level it, think about the choices that you're using and really have a go. I wish you the best of luck and I really look forward to reading these. Speak to you soon. Bye.